sure we're getting those book bags ready. Ooh, here we go, 6 o'clock. Welcome, everyone, to the Papillion La Vista Community Schools Board of Education meeting for August 11th at 6 p.m. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. If you'll notice, the Open Meetings Act is posted at the entrance to the room. And we'll have a roll call, please.
Mr. Bailey?
Here.
Ms. Butler?
Here.
Mr. Madler?
Here.
Ms. Witt?
Here.
Mr. Lotus?
Here.
Ms. Wood?
Here. We have no absences today. Communications. No recognitions today. Reports. Superintendent?
Thank you very much, Ms. Witt, members of the board. Happy Monday, everyone, for our audience members. Thank you for joining us this evening. For those that are watching us online, thank you for engaging with your Board of Education and your school district. I do not need to remind anyone that tomorrow is a rather momentous day for our families, our taxpayers, and most of all, our students. We are welcoming back our students to the 2025-26 school year. Just as a reminder, tomorrow is a half day. Lunches are not served. And the students that will actually be in session are K-7 and 9. 8th graders in 10 through 12 get the day off. They come back for a full day on Wednesday. So this is your official 2-minute warning for the school year starting, and we're thrilled to have everybody back. Speaking of the first day of classes, we had the great honor and privilege earlier this afternoon of opening one of our brand newest facilities. Certainly not a new program for us, but the Young Adult Transition Program, which provides services to our young adults with disabilities in the 18 to 21-year-old age range. We've moved that facility around. We had previously been at Gold Coast Road for the last couple of years. We'd been at Liberty Middle School. They've been wonderful hosts for us. But thank you to the commitment of our board, our taxpayers, and everyone who voted for the 2023 bond. We have a facility that is as fine as a young adult facility you'll find anywhere in the state and probably beyond. It's just a gorgeous facility. We had an open house from 2 to 4. We had an official ribbon cutting with some media presence, all 6 board members that were there. So really excited to see the kind of programming that we can carry out in that building with the commons area, large open air classrooms, the independent living apartment. There's just so many things for our students. I'm excited to see how that program continues to grow. Also, in the vein of back to school, we had the opportunity to work with the United Way and were interviewed by the media for the United Way's Shine Bright kits. Now, I know the board is aware of this initiative, but some of our staff and taxpayers may not be. So we've partnered with United Way for the last 3 years, I believe, for Shine Bright hygiene kits. Basically, the way it works is this. The United Way of the Midlands provides the raw materials. Think of body wash, deodorant, toothbrushes, things that are needed that many of us probably take for granted, but so many of our families that are living on the edge financially just don't have access to, which makes some really difficult choices at back to school time. So volunteers pack these age-appropriate Shine Bright hygiene kits, and then United Way turns around and distributes them directly to the school district. The way we distribute most of these kits is through the PLCS community closet. So as families come in looking for help in really vulnerable situations, not only are we able to help them with shoes, with clothes, but we're also able to help them with basic hygiene items, which again, so very valuable this time of year. We know that when kids smell good and have a clean toothbrush and things like that just you wouldn't think that in a society as prosperous as ours we would need to worry about, but we have families, I promise you, that worry about things like that. So really pleased to work with United Way on that back to school initiative. Also wanted to thank Dan Kauk and Brett Richards for getting our buildings ready. Several buildings will remain in construction phase that started recently, Bell being a perfect example, Portal being another example. But most of our buildings where we started the work 6 to 12 months ago, we're fast bringing those projects to a completion. Still a lot of items on the punch list, but getting our buildings ready to go in time for back to school, because so much work is sandwiched into those 2.5 months of summer, is a huge task. So Brett, thanks to you and your crew for getting our buildings up and running. We had a little bit of a scare the last couple days when the storm tore through Lincoln and Omaha. We had at least one building that was without power, but everything is restored, and hopefully air conditioning is working for the rest of the week. That's kind of an important thing. Also wanted to remind the board that we've got our PLCS Foundation Back to School soiree this weekend. So that is this Saturday at the Beardmore Event Center. And while that is a Bellevue address, that is a Papillion-La Vista taxpayer paying entity. They actually are in the school district, so there's a reason why we chose Beardmore. Plus, it's a really beautiful facility, and it readily accommodates the numbers that the Foundation's Back to School Bash routinely attracts. Finally, we had the good fortune of meeting with Governor Pillen last Thursday in Lincoln after our Welcome Back event at Warner Park. Governor Pillen has a small group of superintendents he meets with about every 2 or 3 months. On the agenda, he had 4 specific items. He wanted to talk school funding. He wanted to discuss workforce training needs, student behavioral issues, and well, we didn't get much time to talk about the last issue, but he wanted to talk about potential statewide support for universal child care, specifically early childhood programming in the birth to 4. This is something the governor's talked to us about a number of times. I don't know how the funding's going to work, especially with some of the budget challenges the state of Nebraska is currently facing, but to have the governor even broach the subject, I think says a lot about where his priorities are, and obviously that's something that we would support. The devil is always in the details, of course, but the fact that our governor is even interested in talking about birth to 4 support is a pretty big deal. So no final decisions came out of the meeting with Governor Pillen, but I know he wants to maintain this group in the coming months. In fact, he was already working on scheduling the next meeting in the next 30 to 60 days. So overall, it was a very productive meeting. I think that's all to report, but again, just want to thank the board, not only all 6 of our board members for being to the Welcome Back event at Werner Park, all 6 board members being at the open house tonight. Welcome Back event was great. Obviously, we had some issues with audio and visual that we're working through, and we'll take a hard look at some of that in the off season, but to have our board show up for both events, all 6, says a lot. So to our students that are watching and our families that are watching, get to bed early tonight and hope you have a wonderful day of class tomorrow. And with that, Ms. Witt, I'll close my superintendent comments.
Thank you. Moving on to board member reports.
Ms. Witt and I attended a NASB workshop in Lincoln on July 30th, and the topic was in regard to evaluation and reflection, our legal responsibility to evaluate our superintendent, and they shared some tools and insight on that. And they also talked about the board self-assessment. And I know both of those topics are on our upcoming agenda at our board retreat. And but we received some good examples. There was a great discussion, and I often walk away from those workshops being very happy that I'm where I'm at. So.
I went down to Lincoln on Friday for an NASB Legislative Committee meeting. We met for 4 or 5 hours down in Lincoln. There's about 20 board members throughout the state that met. A lot of it was recap of the session that ended back in May or June, and then looking at the outstanding bills and what we should expect for the next session. A lot of the conversation was around the budget shortfall, which is only deepening, only a month into the fiscal year for the state. And so it's going to be watching closely how the legislature and the governor, what their plans are to kind of narrow that gap. You know, school finances is a large portion, has grown as a portion of the state budget. So we just have to, you know, keep an eye on any potential solves that they are working through. I think we'll meet again, and as we get closer to the legislative session. But it was a good recap and a good meeting to get us all together and go through next year's. For those that have gone to the DC, we did discuss the DC trip next year. It is going to be scheduled for the last week of April. It is going to be, since it's a short legislative session, so it's going to be after the legislative session, and they are going to invite board members from Kansas as well as Oklahoma this time around. I'm interested in discussing with board members of Oklahoma, seeing what's happening down there. We will still have our own breakouts, meeting with our own congressional delegation, but there will be some events where we can, meet with the other board members and start building some of those relationships as well. So more to come on that, but yeah, right now it's going to be it's set for the last week of April. We also, as a heads up, we discussed the new school financing review commission that was set up by the governor and the legislature. Their first meeting is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It will be on the Nebraska Department of Education YouTube channel, so it will be up to watch. I haven't seen the agenda. I'm not sure what they'll discuss or how long it'll go, but that is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning for those that are interested. And then also, as part of the legislative committee, we are having a roundtable with Congressman Bacon this Thursday that I'm planning on going to. That's going to be at ESU 3 on Thursday. That's it for me.
Well, like Dr. Wrigley mentioned in his comments, all of us board members were able to attend the last couple events, the biggest one being the welcome back last week. I mean, we lucked out with the weather, though it was a little steamy and got a little warm. The day before would have been much more of a monsoon to deal with. But I just wanted to thank all the volunteers. Just a matter of a few years ago, it was a lot of us board members being asked to come early and hand out shirts, and now all the cheerleaders and additional central office staff and everything having the check-ins and the T-shirts. I kind of felt it was nice to not, so you could socialize and welcome back everybody coming in. But it was also, you got a lot of that handing out T-shirts and doing all those kind of things. But one of the biggest things was to see the renovations to the turf and the new foundation field being relatively finished outside of the monsoon that caused a little bit of an issue that thanks to Mr. Richards and his team and the turf folks getting it cleaned up and appreciate all their efforts till I think Mr. Richards said they were there till about midnight the night before cleaning up from some of that rain issues. So again, huge thanks to all the volunteers. Mr. Villarreal and his team putting together the program. Yes, unfortunately, there's always technology issues no matter where you go. So it just gave us some insight on some things we can improve on. So, and then just another big thanks to all of the principals, administrative staff, admins, counselors, and everything putting on all the registrations and welcome back events at all the different levels. I have the great privilege of having students at all three of our levels. And so to witness the fun elementary back to school night tonight at Ashbury was great. And then experiencing middle school check-in and all of that again. And then I was not allowed to go to my high schoolers' sophomore registration welcome back event, but I know it went off without a hitch, and having everything so organized and be able to do so much stuff online and through the app is a big congratulations to the communications team working together with our new technology partners, because that makes it really, really easy on parents to just take it out of their hands and I don't have to write 10 checks and just get done with it. So welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody enjoys the first couple days of school. And again, I'd be remiss if I don't do a plug from a former board member, Ms. Fisher, community members. School's back in session. Lots of new folks that it's their first year going to a new building. Have some grace, be patient, be watching out, watch for those stop signs, watch for those crosswalks. Remember the laws with busing. So, Ms. Fisher, I just want to make sure I got that plug in because it is extremely important. We want all of our students, staff, and community members to be safe. So, be safe out there the first week of school.
Okay, I do have to say that the welcome back was nice to be social and not have to be passing things out, because I was able to walk through the vendors this time. And I noticed all the teachers formed a line. I thought it was wonderful. They didn't just crowd in, they just went into a line just like they should. So, yeah, it was great. I complimented them on that. And the ribbon cutting today was fabulous. That building is spectacular, and I'm looking forward to the feedback after the kids have had a chance to get in there and feel that, the new facility. It's really quite lovely. I will be at the Bacon hearing, and that's all I can think of right now. Moving on to committee reports, Buildings, Grounds, and Finance.
We met last Friday, a couple Fridays ago, can't remember when, talking through most of the conversation was we have on the agenda for later, the 36th Street land parcel. We'll be bringing that up. And then we are heavy into budget season, tax request season. Mr. Richards and team have been busy crunching the numbers, and they are ready for everything that it takes for us to pass both of those, and so we'll be discussing more of that later this evening.
Thank you. Human Resources and Student Services,
We have not met since last meeting.
Curriculum and Americanism.
Yeah, we met on July 31st, so yep, back there a ways as well. Talked about a number of different things. Matt came in and gave us a good, along with Shireen, a good technology audit, the findings that went along with that, and I know that we'll hear, I think the entire board will get that at our retreat. Talked a lot about the strategic planning, got a good update on that from Shireen. It looks like we've got it here on the agenda as well, so I'm sure we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. And then talked about the PE and health toolbox, which starts 25-26. Talked a lot about that and some of the policy changes based on the new laws that have come out. And then also talked about the Rule 10 audit. So you get audited again. So another fun couple, 3 days there, I think is what you said. So I think that about covers everything.
All right, thank you. If we were to have public comment for items on the agenda, they would be heard while we talk about that during the agenda. On our action items, do we have a motion for the action by consent?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the action by consent items as listed.
Second.
I have a motion by Skip Bailey and a second by Mr. Madler. Roll call?
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the maintenance contract tentative agreement. Dr. Settles.
Thank you so much. There are no additional changes since we last talked. So just a reminder that this would reflect a wage increase of 3.94% in year one and 3.8% in year two for our maintenance staff. And definitely have appreciated working with them throughout this process.
I'll make a motion to ratify the negotiated agreement with the maintenance staff represented by SEIU Local 226 for the 2025-26 and 2026-27 contract years.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Lotus and a second by Ms. Wood. Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item is the review of policy 7000 series regarding construction. Mr. Richards.
Yes, the Buildings and Grounds Finance Committee, we did review those policies, and because of a tweak we made a couple of years ago on one of the policies, we don't have to update anything within those this year. The one change we did have, just so everybody's aware, the amount that if you're doing a construction project of any kind, if it goes over 144,000, you need to have architects and engineers. It went up to 144 this year. Our policies just state what's in state statute. So,
I will move to acknowledge review of 7,000 series board policies.
I will second.
I have a motion by Mr. Madler, a second by Mr. Bailey. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. That includes action items. Next, discussion items. First one is the 2025-26 budget and property tax information. Mr. Richards.
Okay. Oops. There we go. Just starting with budget timeline, so it got pushed back a few weeks, a few years ago. So it does give us a little more time during the summer to get from our August 20th certified valuation and getting all our budget and tax information ready for the hearings. So we did get our preliminary valuation from the county, and I'll go over that here in a minute. Tonight, we're just kind of an overview of budget and tax parameter information. We will ask the board on August 25th for the consideration of increased base growth percentage resolution for 25-26, which you do have in your packets tonight, as an example of that, and that will probably be the one that we bring forward on the 25th. September 8th is a budget presentation and hearing that night, and then September 18th, we'll have the Sarpy County tax hearing. This one this year is at Bellevue University, the Hitchcock Humanities Center in Chris Auditorium, and that's at 6:30 that night. September 22nd is our district tax hearing and budget adoption that night. And then October 13th, we'd have our tax request adoption at that point. Some general fund considerations this year as we look at building our budget and getting it ready for the board. We have a proposed general fund increase of 2.6%. That increases our budget to $169,816,374. Our technology sustainability continues to be built into the budget. At this point, I think I'm going to go for $1.25 million in that technology since we're seeing some increases there. So you'll see that later on when I show you the line items for the general fund. Revenues and expenditures expected to be around $154.2 million for 25-26. So we're looking at about a 3.5% increase in spending. Most of that has to do with, our labor. When we got 85%, and I'll go over that here in a minute, but of our spending is pretty much labor's salaries and benefits. Valuation increase of 7.6%. That's that preliminary amount that we did receive from the county June 20th. And that's due to new commercial properties, residential development, and continued home sales and communities. Good news, I think. We finally, well, it's a good or bad. We finally hit rock bottom on our state aid. So we're going to actually get an increase in state aid this year of 2.75%. Last year, if you remember, we lost $7.6 million in state aid, which really kind of put the revenues, in a tough spot when we're looking at property taxes, having to fill a lot of that back in. So that seems to be over at this point. So I can see us continuing with a modest increase every year in state aid as long as we're not seeing any significant decrease in enrollment. The revenue cap of 3% for overall local and state revenue means a maximum asking of this year of $90,590,313. Total property taxes, that includes the general fund and special fund there. So in 2024-25, we asked for $88,596,784. So our cap is about our increase according to law is only about 2.25% in property taxes. Okay, so that will get important as I move forward here, talking through some other considerations.
Brett, before you move on to the next slide, just a quick clarification. When Brett talks about we've hit rock bottom, that we've hit a floor in essence, keep in mind that the state pays foundation aid of $1,500 per student. So when you take our total student enrolled population times that $1,500, that basically provides the floor. That's at least what we're going to get for state purposes. So for all intents and purposes, we are now an equalized district.
Yes, that's a good point. Thank you, Dr. Rickley, for bringing that up, because we've talked about that for so long, being unequalized versus equalized. We are going to lose $550,000 in Title I allotment. We received our Title I allotment for 25-26, and it's at $441,000. So it seemed like a huge deal, but we only had that for 1 year. The year before that, we were at about 551,000 in Title I. Last year, it went up to 991,000. So we got a big jump in 24-25 in Title I allotment. That went away. It's going to be right on that bubble of getting that extra money through the formula of the determination of poverty counts. So, you know, we could get some back next year. We may sit down where we're at again. But that was the first year we ever got that big jump, according to our poverty calculations with the NDE. So that's something to keep an eye on. We try to be real careful about how we allot that. So if we do lose it, you know, we're not losing some major things that we're counting on funding with during the year until we know that we're safely within the amounts that we'll continue to get that higher amount. An estimate increase of 4% of total package labor increases. This also includes a 5.4% in health insurance this upcoming year. The reason why it's a little bit lower is because of the in-purse savings of the retirement system. Most of our packages this year went over about 4.5% when you included benefits as well. So we feel pretty safe in coming in at under 4% with that NIPER savings that we have from the retirement and the new law that puts us, we were at 9.78% of contribution per employee to match theirs, or they were a little bit below that. They go down to 8% this year in what they pay in IMPERS, and we go to 8.08% as a district. So that's a pretty significant savings. That'll help us in a year that we did go with some higher labor costs. New SRO sergeant position, we're adding to the budget this year. Tier 3 alternative school costs is increasing. We got, you know, the JJC of Sarpy County. They used to be able to fund that program through the motorcycle training program, and they're coming up way short. So they're asking districts to now contribute to that program per student as you put them in. And we do have another Tier 3 alternative school. We have multiple outsourcing that we do in that area when needed as well through our special education programs. And those costs have really gone up since COVID. You've seen it. A lot of them closed down back then, and now some of them are trying to reopen and begin a new business. So curriculum materials and technology costs, I don't have to tell you, those of you in that curriculum committee, that those things are gone, or they've gone up considerably over the last 3 or 4 years, and we need to plan for that. Technology as well, I've mentioned trying to get another $250,000 into that depreciation fund starting this year. As of right now, we need to add 2 bus routes this school year on that east of 114th Street in the Prairie Queen boundary area. We were able to take one of the routes from another bus and turn that into a Prairie Queen route too. So really we have 3 routes going to start the year. We had a significant amount of parents that chose district transportation as their transportation way this year. So we've had to adjust to that a little bit. New elementary school costs, of course, you know, it doesn't open until 26-27, but the way the fiscal year sits, we're going to have some costs next summer in this fiscal year budget in 25-26 to open up that new school. I'm still going through that with Shireen a little bit on what those things are going to cost us, technology-wise, curriculum-wise, all the things you got to buy extra to open a new school. Now, some of it will come from Prairie Queen, of course, because that'll shrink over there. But you still got to build all those costs in prior to opening. And you have the operations, you'll have salary, we'll have custodians starting, you know, July 1 in that building, those types of things that will fall under 25-26 fiscal year. So we'll have some better numbers for you in our committee on that here shortly. New YATP building operations costs, so that's a new, of course, building in our district. You know, how do we get custodians down there and maintain the operational costs, utilities, all those things are built into this new budget. Transportation costs are up pretty considerably over the last 2 years. I think a lot of it is our charters have gone up for you know, athletics and activities and field trips and those types of things. Since COVID, I think we've picked back up in that area. So we're seeing those costs shoot up along with that. And then any strategic plan needs that comes from this process that we're going to be going through this year, that the board wants to take on with the strategic plan. Of course, we need to have some dollars set aside for that. And then I did mention the NPER savings earlier, which is going to help us out a little bit with a lot of additional costs this year. Tax implications. So the governor's bill allows school districts to override the revenue cap of 3% to allow for an additional 4% in revenue. So we appreciated that. The governor listened. I think the senators listened down there when this bill passed a few years ago, that there are times when you're going to need more than the 3% cap to get by. And we're coming into that. We've followed the 3% cap for 2 years in a row here. We probably took a hit a little bit by doing that this past year because there was that glitch in there that we were only going to get about 1.3, 1.4% revenue this year. The good news is our spending is going to be right about that same level, which is pretty amazing. But next year is not looking like a 1.4% spending year for us. It's probably going to be around the 3.5 to 3.7 range percentage-wise. So we're going to have to ask for some additional revenue in 25, 26 from the board. And we kind of talked about this when we were approving the certified packages earlier this year. The 4% revenue will give the district access to another 5.6 plus million. We won't ask for that much. We don't need all that. We're not opening a new school till next year. I imagine it'll be probably 2 years in a row that we'll need to bump it up, but I don't see either year getting to that 4% level. We're going to ask in the resolution that we get up to 3%. So that allows us to firm up our numbers here over the next month, and we'll have the exact number, of course, when we go through the tax hearing process coming up soon. So the resolution, we want to do it ahead of the tax hearing, so we have the authority to kind of give an amount over that 3% publicized, and of course, our Buildings Grounds Finance Committee will be involved in that, whatever that amount may end up being. But I'm thinking around the 2.5% level at this point, it's looking, in additional tax revenue. Amount will be, yeah, we're gonna set that amount here as we move through the tax hearing process. General fund, no big surprises here. I think the one thing that we're anywhere from 2.5 to 3.6% increases per line item here. So nothing earth-shattering within our budget. Of course, we have a budget authority of $169.8 million. We won't spend that much. We'll probably spend right around $154 million to $154.5 million this upcoming year. So we're well below our authority in what we do with our budget. We got a 2.6% increase for this year. As you know, a budget authority, unless you're growing or you have enormous needs come up, you're only going to grow by 2.5% in your budget. That's what state law only allows. So, a district like Elkhorn, when they were growing, Papillion, La Vista, back in the day when we were growing 3 to 4%, your budget authority goes up with that. We will apply this fall for a new school opening that'll give us some additional authority next year, but that'll come in 26, 27. Okay? But yeah, if you have any questions on this, let me know. These are kind of preliminary at this point, but they're falling about in this level as we're developing this budget in-house. Tax levy info. This is set really at the 3% amount. So this will probably go down a little bit even from here, which is good news, I think. We're looking at a 1.5 cent decrease. General fund goes up a little bit, bond fund goes down a little bit, and then we just need, with the valuation increase, special building fund will go down, even though we're going to get the same, we're asking for the same amount of money in that area.
And I assume the second column is for 25, 26?
Oh, gosh, yes, sorry about that.
Just checking.
Yeah, I got to start putting this through to my secretary and proofreading this stuff. So, yeah, I'll get that fixed. Thank you for that. You look at our tax levy history, and, we were at $1.30 back in 2018-19. So I think you're starting to see some of the things in place to lower property taxes in Nebraska over the years. take hold, especially after the 22-23 school year. When the governor kicked in the 80% funding of special ed, that really allowed districts to take down their tax levies even more. So I think we'll continue this trend now that we're an unequalized district at this point. And once we get through the school opening especially, I think you can start to see that drop even more. Any questions or discussions?
Can you send us that, your presentation?
Sure, you bet.
So I can try to
Digest that a little bit,
Yeah.
you betcha. You betcha. Yeah, the Buildings Grounds Finance Subcommittee, they got that twice, so now they're experts.
Thank you. If there's no discussion, we'll move on to item B, 36th Street land parcel.
Yes, I am bringing this back to the board. It's still in discussion phase. And I want to thank Shireen for pointing out to this older gentleman sitting in this chair that Google Earth is not updated every day like Google Maps. So my map last one time was out of date and didn't realize that. So we're going to bring it back to you for discussion and kind of give you a little bit more information tonight. So we're talking about 1.17 acres or so, just east of Anderson Grove Elementary School. You can kind of see the old road in there. That's about where our property is, and I'll show it better on a map here in a minute. But that is the actual road that they remade, Granada Parkway. They took it down a little bit further south than where it used to be. So the picture I showed you last time still had the old road in there. This is a site plan from the developer. It's a senior living center. This is what they currently are looking to do. We did ask the developer what he intends to do with our portion of the land, which you can kind of see in that area just below the parking lot that's highlighted in that boundary is consider our land 1.17 acres there, and it's kind of on a slope if you've driven it, and you can go look at it. That slope kind of is a designation point for where our land is at in this site plan. So he intends to build it on the upper level there. And the lower level, they would own as well, but it wouldn't be a part of their building at this time between our land and the end of Granada Parkway, which is back that way. So there wouldn't be anything built in the lower section of this particular property at this time. Would only be built on the upper side. They plan to do a 3-level senior living facility out of this project. So that's quite a project for Bellevue. So that's some new information for you. I hope that helps a little bit in seeing what they want to do with that land.
So do they own where their building is, and they own below the land we own, and they just want, and we have that strip in the middle?
I believe they're in the process of owning it or have already purchased it. So they're probably trying to do this all congruently so they make sure they get everything they need to make this project work. I didn't ask him directly if he already owns that because I still see a sign up there. So they may be trying to purchase all this at once so they can get the whole thing they need.
I know when we talked about this before, we talked about the access road. Obviously, it looks like they've got an access that doesn't really affect the school at all, so.
Yeah,
that-
he said they want to come in from that 36th Street
Yeah.
only at this point. So it shouldn't impact our traffic for school in any way.
Okay.
All right, thank you. No more questions. We'll move on. I would like to take item C, strategic planning update, and move that to next meeting. We have a closed session and our attorney needs to go on to other business. So unless the board has an objection, I'd like to move that to the next meeting. Okay? Sorry, Shireen, I know you worked hard on your presentation. Dr. Siri? We can, though, go ahead and just announce the review of policy 8000 and get that off the table if you want.
Yep, no problem. It is the month of August, so that means the 8,000s are up for annual review. If you wouldn't mind, take a look at those, and we can make some recommendations at an upcoming meeting. So I'd be the contact for that, or a member of the HR Student Services Subcommittee. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item E, executive closed session. I'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion to go into executive closed session at 6:40 PM.
I do think you need to state
Oh, do I?
the written
The
motion.
reason, yes.
Two pieces there.
Okay, this executive closed session is to discuss a legal matter. Is that all that's in?
To protect the public interest, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah, we've got multiple sentences I need to. All right, so let's start that over. I will make a motion to go into executive closed session at 6:40 to protect the public interest and to protect the reputation of individuals. This executive closed session is to discuss a legal matter.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Madler and a second by Ms. Wood to move to closed session to protect the public interest and to protect the reputation of individuals. During this closed session, we will only discuss this legal matter. Roll call, please.
Ms. Witt,
Yes.
Mr. Lotus,
Yes.
Ms. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Ms. Butler,
Yes.
Mr. Madler.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So at this time, we will ask everyone who's not a member of the board or our guests to go ahead and vacate the room. We will reopen the meeting when the closed session has ended to go through the future board meeting and do adjournment. So if you want to hang around, you can. If you don't want to hang around, you don't have to.